fam! Welcome to the first online episode of the Radioactive Poetry Cafe. This is an initiative by the Radioactive blog. Well, I am your host for today, Onkarabile Marumo, and I hope you're sitting back, relaxing, because we're about to have a dope show. Before we get started, one thing I'd like to ask from you, if you're watching from YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, make sure to like, share, and leave many comments down below. For those who might not be familiar with this show, well, it started off as a live performance of the spoken word in the year of 2019, right here in the heart of the Free State in Bloemfontein in lovely sunny South Africa. Well, obviously because of the pandemic and COVID, we had to take a little break and try to move from being live to now the online space. So thank you so much for joining us, and like I said, leave your comments down below. Also, just a quick fun fact, the blog, the Radioactive blog, just turned 5 this month. We can't wait to see what the next 5 years holds for us. Now that we've got the formalities out of the way, I hope you're sitting back and relaxing because we're about to have a dope show with, well, 6 amazing poets who are about to share their talents with us. So how this is going to work is as follows. We're going to have 3 segments with 2 poets each. And they're going to share their talents. And also what we've done is we have asked each poet to share with us 1 or 2 of their favorite African poets and why. So I hope you're comfortable because the first 2 poets are Angelyric and Metamorphosis. So Angelyric is a writer and a performer straight from their East Rand. Metamorphosis is a multi-award winning poet. So make sure to sit back, relax, and enjoy the word.
Seas scatter water in wisdom's temple. In warfare's shrine, they masquerade sacrilegious acts that draw the wrath of divinity. Behold, as blessings collide with curses, it is the condemned woman that wears betrayal as a crown, with hair enchanted by tangled roots. We are winged gorgons, with twisted follicles metamorphosing dread that locked messages sent to gods. Our braided hair likened to writhing snakes, venom striking, curling things that live. It is only the condemned woman that can weave an ocean's shame into her skin. When wanderers begin quest for our hues, they sharpen their blades to try search for where our chunky cornrows lead. With the earth's doom, wanderers will carve their swords to try straighten the coils in our hair. Before it splits, they will trade teeth and eyes to find where our chunky cornrows lead. These wanderers, they freeze while staring at us, and we turn to monstrous creatures for protection. It is only the condemned woman's gaze that can spawn terror while stoning kings. Wanderers will punish their shields to behead our kinky hair. As hard as this question may be, I have to give props to a woman who was instrumental in my writing, Sis Levu Mashile. Like, we cannot speak poetry without speaking about Levu, and she deserves all the love and all the credit. You know, her ability to write about everything is so damn rad, you know, and she helped me through a lot of darkness. And my second favorite African poet is a girl by the name of Emi Hamod. She's from Sudan, and her ability to document the woman's struggle, particularly the African woman's struggle, no matter where she is on the globe, is phenomenal, and how she can mirror two different realities and make them relatable to each other. Amazing.
This is Huygens' imaginary mirror. Seeking to find conceptions of Excalibur, moving to find a distant mirror image existing within a holographic point that finds virtues or principles of virtual photons existing as ejection points to event horizons, but this transitional point of entropy exists in a deeper state. There are merely shadow cognitive forms existing at the back meandering points of the mind when neurons bend themselves to distant transient states. These are alpha, beta, and delta waves. Quantum fields and meditations that find their very existence as a mere standard form to format that became a Fermat to a distant theorem. These are geodesics moving in motion, the Schwarzschild radius existing to find its division point of the speed of light squared. We're pulling anchors and points to memories here, we're finding existence on threaded edge. This is merely him speaking. Huygens' imaginary mirror point of existence. This is reflection points of existential points of self. How do you digest and succumb to points of camped memories as the hippocampus exists to find a contactor point of form? So you pull and find the back bearer ending form to exist and find a contorted, twisted vision that became a twisted, flickering point to the point of existence. So organs diagrams find complex planes and polar coordinates, so the angular momentum of the start becomes a distant quantum number. The repulse to find the other side. Have we seen the transition of entropy to find a distant collision to a point that became a splitting point where space collapses faster than time can form? This is beyond time dilation. This is singularities and flex. This is distant points of existence. This is Huygens' imaginary mirror. Alright, then in terms of my favorite poets, as difficult questions that may be, I think I'd have to go, outside of vast writers, I'd probably have to go then with, I guess, Ndebele in terms of the time frame where she had a pivotal role to play in terms of the youth, in terms of getting more deeper engagement with the sort of her works, of course. And in condition or conjunction to that, I'd probably add in Don Matera. I think his line spoke of soils within anguish, and I think questions of identity formed around that is a nuanced point. It just gets deeper as you go further down. So that'll then be my two favorite poets. Thank you. I am meant very emphasis.
So shout out to Angelyric, who gave me the Don't Touch My Hair Solange vibe, and as well as Metamorphosis, who will give us the contrast of our thoughts versus reality, and who we think we are versus who we really are. So I hope you guys enjoyed those two poems. Make sure to hit us up with some comments down below. Our next two poets, we've got Thandoe, who is a slam champion all the way from Zimbabwe, and as well as Mrisi, who is, well, a jack of all trades, a rapper, a poet, a producer, all the way from England. Let's hear what these two poets have to say.
Who gave you permission to play God? To silence my voice and cut out my tongue and attempt to slit my throat every second day when night falls? Why have you decided that my body is therapy, that scarring it will save you from yourself, from your misery? Why on God's green earth would you believe that I am your possession that I exist solely for the purpose of pleasing you, of satisfying your ego and never-ending diabolical desires, of taking form of whatever shape so your feast lands perfectly, of harboring all your insecurities, messed up reasons why you don't feel man enough and low self-esteem. I don't understand why I need to apologize for simply being. Who gave you permission to play God? To decide how much of my body to cover up and how much of myself to give? Who named you author and finisher of my fate? That the blood that flows in my veins and the air that circulates in my lungs is governed by you? How dare you dictate my every move? How my hips should move? How many times they should sway in one go in the direction in which the wind should blow? You have become the bane in my existence in man. Do I despise you? So my two favorite African poets, the first one would have to be Kollega Putuma because she's just amazing. And the second one is Dila Dube because she's like a drug. Yeah, she's amazing.
We talk revolution. They call it conspiracy, we call it history. Same old shit, just a different black. So fucked up by the patterns that we're trapped in, we try to tell the whole story with a fragment. It's dad's struggle, grandma's struggle, sisters, cousins, uncles, aunts, friends, you get the picture. If I had a great British pound sterling for every time they called me nigger, I'd be Lewis Hamilton. Keep calm and carry on. Because we're of the Commonwealth, but the wealth isn't common. You get me, Archie? We're everywhere. Because there was a time when we ran things. The Greeks knew it, but apparently the Romans forgot. The 12 tribes were lost. Nailed to the cross of Stephen Lawrence, Damilola Taylor, Mark Duggan, Smiley Culture. The list is long and the list goes on. Same boat, same song. You know that you was a righteous man. He was from England, but he was an African. You know that you was a righteous man, and he was from England, but he was an African. You know that you was a righteous man. He was from England, but he was an African. You know that you was a righteous man, and he was from England, but he was an African. My two favourite poets are Benjamin Zephaniah and Linton Questi Johnson. Because I think they really encapsulate the Black British experience from the times when they were writing and still now. They've both been a big influence in my writing, and yeah, they're really important people in the Black British community for their writing and their influence on Black British culture and British culture in general.
One thing I love about poetry is that it gives us and the poets and the listeners and everybody involved the opportunity to share and to speak about issues. For example, in Thandoe's poem, where she highlights the meaning and the fact and the impact of gender-based violence on women, and how the perpetrators sometimes like to play God in the lives of women and how that affects them. In the case of Mrisi, he spoke about the revolution, the struggles of the revolution, how, well, things that are supposed to be common amongst all of us are only shared amongst the elite. And these are things that we struggle with today and things that we should be thinking about and how to change them going forward. So thank you to these two lovely poets. Well, I hope you've been enjoying the show. Make sure to keep those fingers on the comment button. Otherwise, we're going to take a short little commercial break. Make sure to still stay tuned because we'll be right back.
Ukusa sekuyobonwa yithike futhi ithemba lami. Konke besikuphupha ngokuhluka kwakho okuzohlangana futhi. Sohlangana futhi khaya lami. Yebo ngisele nobuhlakani kepha namanje kangiqondi. Ukuthi umthola kanjani uyise emehlweni omhambi thizeni isimanga.
Yeah, well, I have to say that as someone that has known you for over, I think it's mostly 9-10 years now, there is that type of analogy that you are portraying there of a metamorphosis. You know, I think you freestyled a poem at one of my stages. That was one of the first experiences we've had of you, and from there to now, I can see that Khambule effect from just being a small worm to growing into the butterfly that you are now. So for me, this makes sense actually. Your name makes sense because you were very shy.
Super shy.
Yeah, you used to hide behind your cap, you used to hide behind your glasses, you used to read a lot. I used to fight with you for
I remember
for
you
reading.
said you gotta memorize his pieces.
Yeah, because you were hiding behind the vase and we wanted to see you blossom in a way. So your name or the name that you've chosen is really a true representation of the person that you are and alter ego that you've become.
I appreciate that.
See, last time I told you about who I am. Now let me tell you where I'm from. I'm from a busy city, where above many things, the authenticity is rooted in the language. The hita, chassis, ita, awe massacred. A city with many hoods like Slovo, Tempon, Malikam, but you go past the bridge, we Takalogibag, Uptown, Belisir, Gai Willish P. But the glue of it all is that green and white jersey that echoes hope, and it's the pride of my city. My chief, tell it was his theater, moving their hustles from corner to corner. Cause from China with Madeira, so Pereira, more flame sauce, Chantel and K with Buttercup Farmhouse, Zizzy Poet Z Apparel, cutting the dopest fits. Welcome to Bloom, the city of roses, home of Celtics, Puya Sensei, the Free State Cheetahs, and me, Leroy, aka the voice of the city.
And welcome back to the last segment of the Radioactive Poetry Cafe show. In this last segment, we've got 2 more poets for you, so I hope you guys are still enjoying yourselves and don't forget to hit us up with some comments. Well, our first of the last 2 poets is Nomfundo Khambule. She is a writer and a performer all the way from Tembisa. And then we also have Sipho Ndebele. Well, he has been in the game since 2005. So, sit back, relax, and let's hear what these poets have to say.
Sometimes it goes dark inside, and it seems as though my organs find some sick humor in the art of turning my body into a boxing ring. I can feel my heart punching holes into my ribcage, my breath slowly escaping the scene, hoping my lungs do not notice when it finally leaves my lungs. Decoding survival instincts while being crushed by my hardening chest. My chest is where she lay her head that night, her head. I wonder what kind of pictures of me she keeps in there. Does she paint me fragile with water paint? Carefully dulling down each color like she purposely left her canvas out in the rain. I wonder if she paints me that way as she imagines the brown being washed off my cheeks by my tears. She says she likes my smile, but does she like it the right way up or upside down? Because too often she has seen me frown my smile. I hope she looks at it and she sees a pluck guard in the middle of a 1,000-man protest with noise and rubber bullets and smoke and fists and feet and fists, and she sees my pluck guard of a smile and it stands and it reads, I am still fighting because I am. My fight against principalities I am too familiar with. My past is screaming in my trembling knees like a band-aid being ripped off a fresh wound. My elbows left feeling like jelly, my body covered in sweat, my fight. My smile, her head, my chest, my lungs, my breath, my ribs, my heart. Sometimes it goes dark inside, and it seems as though my organs find some sick humor in the art of turning my body into a boxing ring. It is dark outside, but when the sun comes up and she wakes, I hope all she will remember is that I am still fighting my fight. My two favorite poets, I think the first one is obviously Lebo Mashile. I know it's a bit cliche, but it's like she's the one poet that I completely respect and I always have, because she's always been a reference for me when it comes to poetry in our country and performing poetry. And I believe that she fought for her voice to be heard, so much so that she landed on my TV screen and I got to see her, I got to hear her, you know what I mean? So I will forever commend her and respect her for that. Also, she writes really beautifully, so why not? My second favorite poet is Soetri. I don't know if you guys know him, but if you don't, please go and look for him and listen to his work and you'll hear exactly why I love him. I think he writes really beautifully and he can take the most craziest situations and make them sound so beautiful. He writes a poem about two boys fighting in a classroom and it's the most bizarre thing. Like, it's crazy how beautiful it becomes. So I think Soetri also is one of my favorite poets, and yeah, thank you.
I've been writing you poems for as long as I can remember. Long before I met you, your smile was an ember, a furnace in the night sky. You were a lighthouse for my 15th century sailboat pulse. Your heartbeat, the wind in my sails. I was always bound for your shores, and I'm sure every single relationship wreck I endured, every island I mistakenly set my eyes on, every drop of this ink ocean was dress rehearsal for the day that I met you. On the day that I met you, Father Time slowed down just to afford me a little bit more of your company. I could count every grain of sand sifting through that hourglass. One for every smile I siphoned from the wrong people. One for every lie it's taken to make an honest man of this joker. One for every step it's taken to get me to this place, this moment, and I will recite your name into the world. You are my personal revolution. Your eyes have toppled the governance of my logic. It's senseless, the way I am drawn to you. Gravity, your breath holds me in place. You are an entire universe. I have imagined that a galaxy is born on your every breath. You have transcended time and space. I have proof. I found traces of you like a stowaway in old poetry. Your patience, scribbled on the walls of sun and moon anthology. The most exquisite things gather in your spirit. You are amaranth. You are unicorn. You are part of gold at the end of the rainbow. My life was thunderstorm before I drifted to your side. Before I drifted to your side, I scribbled poems about you, smoke signal prayers, Morse code petitions, somehow all dialed down. See, I have always been one for the inexplicable, but you are too much even for me to handle. You are the assembling of every beautiful poem in history, an anthology of time, an arcade of prose. See, sages would journey across the galaxies just to read from your pages, and yet the slowly scribe gets to hold you close to his errant heart. And so I will fill arenas with your name. I promise. So my two favorite African poets are both South Africans. I would love to claim Safia and Lilo, but just to stick to the script, I'll tell you about my two favorite South African poets, which is Sipho Jonas as well as Belita Andre. They are both amazing writers. I love Belita's style because she's able to pack so much meaning into, you know, like such a few words. She's truly learned the art of the short form, whereas Spogazi on the other hand has managed to find new ways of telling compelling stories, and she just continues to reproduce that poem after poem. The way she extends her metaphors is absolutely beautiful for me. And so both of those women as well have an immense work ethic, and that for me is something that just drives me, and I feel it drives poetry at large. So yeah, in a nutshell, those are my two favorite poets. Please do check them out.
A big shout out to our last two posts of the day, Nomfundo and Sipho, who spoke about the following. Nomfundo girl spoke about, how her fight is still her fight. And I guess we can all relate to that, because personally, in this pandemic, I think we all have different fights that we're facing. And time to brave up, put our shields on, and hit the ground running. A big shout out to Sipho, on the other hand, who gave us a little bit more of a light-hearted effect. One thing that came to mind is, Valentine is coming. Where's your boyfriend, girlfriend? Hopefully there's someone to spoil you on Valentine's Day. Thank you, Sipho, for that. So unfortunately, we've reached the end of the first episode of the Radioactive Poetry Cafe. Well, don't worry, don't fear, there's still more episodes coming along this year. The next one will be coming up the 1st of March 2021, same time, same place. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe, ring the bell, switch on your notifications so you don't miss out on the next episode. I'd like to give a big shout out to our 6 lovely poets for sharing with us their talent, their thoughts, and being with us today. A big thank you to you for watching, leaving your comments below. The only thing I have to ask from you, like, share, and subscribe. Otherwise, that's it from me, your host, Onkarabile Marumo. It's been great. See you next time. Make sure to mask up, sanitize, keep the social distancing, but make sure to spread the love.